What hopes do I have for midnight? Honestly, that player housing thing is getting me more excited. The way that they're talking about... so the player housing is getting me more exciting because they're talking about a 50 people neighborhood. And obviously, my degenerate mind immediately shoots to, we could make Goldshire. We could make like a Goldshire with 50 different houses. We could make a red light district. I'm just saying, we could make a red light district with all of us together. We could. I'm just wondering what the plans are. So in the announcement, they said, like, you're not going to lose your house if you drop your subscription, which is cool, you know. But what if we have, like, 10 neighbors that no longer play for, like, half a year? Does that mean that the other 40 people now need to move house because... Or will there be, like, a mayor system where if a majority of people vote you out, you're out and you have to rebuild your house? Like, it's cool to say, like, you'll never lose your house, but I can imagine a couple of scenarios where you should lose your house. Because otherwise, we're going to end up with an empty neighborhood, and I don't want to constantly... Why should I move when somebody else stops playing, right? So I'm kind of wondering, like, is there going to be a vote system? Is there going to be some way of managing that? As well as, what about people trolling? Like, what if you all have a theme and just one or two people are just yelling constantly slurs and whatnot? How will we manage with that? Will there be a theme for the neighborhoods? Like, for example, it's Christmas. Will there be a housing organization that goes around that's like, your lawn is supposed to have a Santa Claus in front of your lawn. Why is there no Santa Claus there? You know, will there be, what kind of restrictions are going to be? So there's a lot of things that I'm wondering about gameplay-wise, and a lot of things like, okay, how is that going to work? Same way with decorating. Homeowner associations in game. I know, right? It would be so fucking funny, though. That you get like an email in game is like, look, according to our regiment, you're supposed to put your garbage out at like... It would be well funny. Or is this gonna be like everybody just does whatever they want to do? I don't know. I was also wondering, like, if there's gonna be people... Like, one of the major issues that I could see with this system is an issue that we had in Warlords as well, which is, if you put people in an instance content, similar in Pandaria as well, by the way, if you put people in instance content, they are no longer in your capital city, meaning that your capital city is going to be empty, right? And in my mind, I was like, I could see a situation where that's a problem, where now it feels like the world is empty. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and then I was like, hang on a minute. If I go to my capital right now, at most, I'm going to see like 5 people, 10 people, right? At least in my neighborhood, there's going to be 50 that I'll see at all times.
The light is my strength.
So I don't think it's that much of a problem. Like it's just going to be a different kind of way. You're just going to chill in your neighborhood. The decorating part, I'm really curious about. Because I'm curious, how far can WoW take decorating? Because they could take shots at Final Fantasy all they want. Final Fantasy has a lot of liberty as to how you can place your furniture. I don't know if WoW has that engine. I remember the Garrison that they were like, okay, you could put down a statue and you could put down buildings at certain plots, but there wasn't a lot of liberty. So what I'm imagining is that the house is going to have, here is the place where you could put a boss kill and you can rotate between like Onyxia's head, Nefarian's head, Lich King's head, whatever you killed, you can put a head there. And this is your fireplace. You can rotate between different fireplaces. That's how I imagine it. But the way that they announced it, in that announcement, I'm like, you're talking about more creativity when it comes to decorating your home. I wonder how far you can take this. And that's something that we can only see when it's actually in there. Because you can write down whatever you want on paper. Unless we see it in game. You know what I mean? So I'm really curious. Really curious how that's going to take shape. But all in all, like, player housing looks to be a good thing. And then I've also seen the discussion amongst the players about power. For example, say that you've killed a boss and you hang up a boss head in your house and you'll get like 1% crit. In my mind, that would be the worst call to make. I think in my mind, housing should be completely optional and have no player power attached to it at all. None. The reason for that is because we had Torgusts, where you have player power connected to it, and then it became a chore. Don't, because you'll make required if you add player power to it. Just make it cosmetic, make it a side thing to do. That's all I want. And the rest is extra, you know? One of the major things that I think with the Garrison, I don't think the Garrison was a mistake or a failure on its own. I think where the Garrison failed is when they started to call it core gameplay.
Certainly.
The Garrison failed because Warlords of Draenor had all else to do.
A sound plan.
So you were stuck in your Garrison with nothing to do and then occasionally raid. That's where it failed. All of a sudden, the entirety of the game fell on the shoulders of your Garrison. And the Garrison just did not have enough to carry that. Imagine a world where Warlords of Draenor had just Legion gameplay, and then there was the Garrison. Nobody would have cared about the Garrison, or at least not as much as it does now. So, yeah. That's what I would like to see. Just where they keep the housing as a side thing, as a fun side thing to do. They can incorporate professions in there that you can make furniture with. They can incorporate collecting. So, for example, you kill the boss, so you've done achievements. You get, like, decor for your house. They can add themes to it. They can add different locations to it. They can do a lot. And especially for the role-playing side of things as well. Imagine if you're part of, like, the Scarlet Crusaders, and there's going to be a Scarlet Crusade neighborhood. Or imagine if you're part of Banshee Queen Loyalists.
Of course.
And you're gonna make yourself like a spooky-ass Brill kind of town where there's cobwebs and there's like a Stitches patrolling around. Like, they could do a lot of shit with it. Now, obviously, in my mind, it will always be better than it's actually gonna be in-game. But the concept is there, ain't it? Legion Class Hall was exactly that. Yeah, I mean, Class Halls were great in my opinion. At least a few players deciding on making Homeowners Association. Hey, RP is RP, ain't it? Excuse me, little gnome in front of your door. Knock, knock. Excuse me. Your bushes are too wild. Fix it right away. We voted on this. But it's also a matter, like, how does the community pick it up, ain't it? Because at the same time, it could also be that nobody gives two shits about player housing and nobody uses it. It's a matter of how do you incorporate it. But I can see, like, RP-wise, if you look at, for example, OnlyFans, where people are making up their stories and you could do so much with it. Oh, there's the Blade Master.
Of course.
Let's go. Hello.
My father, the king.
For my father, the king. But like I said, Midnight, I'm excited for the housing. And beyond that, it's a matter of... I've gotten to the point where I don't know what I want out of World of Warcraft. Because what they're giving me is... I'm okay with what they're giving me. But I also really like that I can drop in and out. But I know that's not for everybody. And I wonder what's good for the future. So the way that it stands now is that I've dropped in. I've done the Palace. I love doing the Palace. I've done Mythic Plus up to like 10s. I like doing Mythic Plus up to 10s. I'm not too keen about farming further. I don't give it's about PvP and never really have. And I leveled some alts. I'm like, okay, cool. We done the anniversary thing. I was like, I like the anniversary thing. I'll level some alts with the time ways and whatnot. That's kind of cool. But then I dip out and I play other games. And I like that Warcraft respects my time. But at the same time, I wonder what it does to the social side of things. Because my guildies, for example, when you dip out and you start dipping your toes in other things, coming back to WoW is not for everybody. And when I read their post with their plans of making it easier for people to get like communities together and communicating and whatnot, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something that WoW could use. Get people together that are keen on playing, right? But like I said, I really enjoyed the War of In so far. But I also really enjoyed just being able to dip out. And at the Side and Isle didn't really offer content. I'm like, yeah, I didn't really look for content on the Side and Isle. I was like, yeah, it's a little bit in between thing, ain't it? So yeah. Do I like... What's that? Do I like Asmund Papa? So long story short, as I rambled on a little bit during stream, I'm excited about the player housing. I really like the post that they put up. It's really interesting to see that they want to go for a 50-man neighborhood. Funny enough, when I started to record the capital city to show like, oh, look, the capital city isn't even that busy. All of a sudden, everybody showed up. It's like, oh, okay, well, that happens. But at the same time, creating your own little communities could be a lot of fun. And perhaps in the downtimes, you'd actually hang out with more people. Decorating can be incorporated in professions, which could be given a new breath of life. Collecting achievements, there's a lot creatively that they can do with player housing. But right now, it's all on paper, right? Like I can write down player housing is going to be the greatest thing or it's going to be the worst thing, and both sides can be true. I'm very much holding off to see what they got going on for when it's available in testing. But the ideas, the pillars, the article that they posted, which I'll link in the description down below, yeah, it has me excited. I really hope it's going to work out. In the same vein, I was also asked, like, what am I hoping for in World of Warcraft and looking to the future, right? Like the future expansions. They made a post about, I think it was in relation to 30 years of World of Warcraft, and they made a post about what they want to do with the game. And they were talking about making it easier for communities to get together and hook up. They were talking about a better starting experience. And in my opinion, those are things that I would like to see added to the game. I think a big problem that World of Warcraft has right now is that a lot of the teaching you how to play, teaching you how the game works, it falls upon the community. It's gotten to the point where the game masters just tell you, like, go to Wowhead and check an article to see how, how you're supposed to solve a quest or fix a problem. And in my opinion, a lot of that should be more in-game. So I would love to see tutorials on how to play your class, how to do Mythic Plus. Maybe it's a little bit too complicated to get it all in the game. But in my opinion, as it stands right now, that they hail to get into World of Warcraft. And that is not even speaking about, the game is 20 years old, so many expansions, is it too late to dive in? The hail that there's right now is like, okay, how do you even begin with World of Warcraft? And I think in that regard, they could definitely make a better experience, as well as getting people closer together. Right now, if you're looking for the social side of things, you're kind of looking at the guild finder or the group finder. And again, there's just a lot of things they can improve on. I know that there's a couple of communities out there that are trying to get people together to teach them how to play, to teach them how to raid. But again, it's on the community shoulders. And I would like to see more in-game that would help with adding that to the cycle. Right, I think that's all I had to say about player housing and the post and whatnot. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to me ramble on. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, see ya.